All right, we're live streaming, and I just realized I don't need these headphones because I'm going to be working on roughs today, which is exciting. Um, what is this stream for anybody who's just tuning in? So, I'm Joshua Kemble. I've been a professional illustrator and graphic designer for well over 15 years. I'm on my 8th year of being an art director, and that's what I do for my day job. And when I'm not doing those things, I'm working on crazy things like graphic novels. Generally, I like to make graphic novels in more like the literary realm of graphic novels. And so my first graphic novel, Two Stories, was like a slice of life autobiographical story that talked about heavy topics like mental illness and depression and stuff like that. That's Two Stories, which is available right now, and there's a link to it down there. So if you're, enjoying these streams or and like are interested in kind of seeing what exactly I'm doing, um, like I'm building the next graphic novel. But if you want to see the previous ones, they're linked to down there. And then, of course, there's Jacob's Apartment, which is my slice of life graphic novel. That's like a young adult coming of age story in the vein of like Ghost World and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, that deals with the types of questions that can shake even the strongest of faith, as well as dealing with losing a family member, and then the interweaving of dreams and reality. So that's Jacob's Apartment. Both of those are linked below, and I'll probably play trailers for those. For those of you who are returning viewers, you already know this about the format of the show, but in general, every hour or so, just to like kind of keep my health and stuff, I like to get up and refill my coffee and stretch for a second. And so at about the hour mark, we'll play a different trailer for one of those two books. And then right now we're going to be working on the graphic novel Not Death But Love: The Strange Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, which was written by Lavender Vroman, and then it's being illustrated and kind of iterated by me. So it's co-created by both of us. And my sister is Lavender Vroman. So this was kind of a real surprise for us. Like I was working on Two Stories book two, and then this book deal sort of was like a pitch that we threw out there because I felt like the story was really strong, and I've always wanted to work on like a historical fiction graphic novel, and it's just a really cool script that kind of takes place in Victorian England. And then we were both a little surprised, honestly. It picked up a pretty decent publishing deal, and so now I have about 365 days, maybe a little less, to do about 230 pages, although now it's like more like 235 pages. But tonight, before I get into, so usually what I'm going to be working on during these streams are like roughs or like final pages. And I just need to be going as like hard as I can on like accomplishing getting this done. So I've been making pretty good momentum. Um, Here's the thing: when you work with collaborators or publishers, or even honestly on your own stuff, every once in a while you'll get feedback that requires revisions. And so I did get some mild feedback on revisions that I need to make on a few of the last iterations I sent, and all of them make perfect sense. So the kind of revisions you want are ones that like further the story or like help clarify what you're trying to communicate in comics. The kind of revisions you don't want are ones that are like really bad aesthetic decisions, right? So I'm really excited because these are all really good revisions. But this might be helpful because I don't know how many times I've done like the process of revision um, on a collaborative work before. So we'll be getting into that. We're going to revise a page, clarify two panels. And I kind of had a gut feeling this is a thing that maybe we can talk about as I'm working on it. But I had a gut feeling that there would be revisions on the page because there were like two panels where it was just a little hard. Like I'm trying to kind of push the atmosphere of the page. And you guys might remember it. It's the last page that I finished fully. and it's like a London street scene, and I want it to really feel like misty and moody. And I might have pushed um Keith Harper said bad aesthetic decision is my middle name. Yeah, bad aesthetic decision would actually be a great punk band name. Uh, but anyhow, so uh, it's like a misty London scene, and I had pushed the atmosphere, I think, a little too far on like two of the panels, and so I want to kind of rework that and clarify those two panels. After that, there's a few revisions on the, I think the prior, like, so we have two roughs that haven't been seen to completion yet. And so I think the second rough, the one we worked on last night, there's a few things where I think I misinterpreted, and this might be my like kind of autistic self where I read stuff like very literally. And sometimes there's like metaphor that like flies over my head. So Robert isn't supposed to be angry. And I was even really excited because I was like, oh, there's like an angry panel that has like a fireplace behind it. That's perfect for framing. So I need to revise that and rework it just a little bit. And then after that, I think we'll try to rough out the next page, and we'll see how far we can get before 2 in the morning, because that's usually my cutoff time. So if you guys are joining and watching along live, welcome. If you're new, welcome, and make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell, all that fun stuff. That way you get notifications when these are about to go live. These can be really fun. Generally, in the rough stage too, quite often on this book, there's a lot of research that goes into it. Although I feel like we're still in the sequence that's in 50 Wimple Street, which is Elizabeth's residence. And so I think, like, luckily, for like the speed and expediency of the roughs, I don't know if I'm going to have to like collect a ton of research. So that all being said, let's get to the page we're going to revise, and let's kind of see how it's going. For everybody who's watching along live too, let me know in the chats, like, Keith, what are you working on? What are you guys working on? I like the fact that there's a lot of fellow creatives that watch this, and it really inspires me and kind of keeps me motivated to keep going. Also, before one last thing before we get into the nitty gritty of actually making this, just a thought. It's funny that like when you wish for like books to kind of happen, like there's a lot of good that comes with that. Like it's really exciting to have a book out, stuff like that. But there's a whole promotional angle that's insane, and can be actually like really frustrating as a bookmaker, where you have to kind of reach out and do press releases and stuff like that. So I've been forcing myself before I'm even allowed to start this stream or work on the comic, to like send out at least one or two queries that are related specifically to Jacob's Apartment, which is my book coming out in June. And so that's today was funny because it took a little bit longer to do. So I literally lost like maybe a half an hour to an hour on productivity time on this, but it's important investment on a book that you've already done. And that's the one thing I think. I just noticed that Corey's on there, and he said, Corey said, I'm researching whether or not I should use tachyon particles or invent my own particles in this story. Ooh, that means there's a story a brewing. That's very exciting. And then Philip said, hi, Josh, I'm working on a late supper while watching on my phone. LOL. Awesome. And Philip, I think we need to have that conversation we talked about yesterday, but hopefully maybe tomorrow or Wednesday, because like tonight I got to just do the like focused rough thing, but still I'll still be streaming and interacting with chats. But I think to do the in-person conversations, I need to be doing flat colors, and it just didn't work out for today to do that. So, okay, let's get into anyhow, I was just saying, like, it's one of those weird little things I don't think we really often consider about our work, is the fact that, like, you know, quite often you're making like a tree in the forest, and if it fell and no one's there to hear it, like, it's questionable as to whether that's even existent art, right? And I still think art has value, like regardless of the audience size. But still, I want people to read my book, and I can't kind of expect that like people are just going to stumble upon it and find it brilliant. I've definitely had moments where people have watched this show like for like a year or two, and then they decide to pick up a book, and then they read it and they're like, oh, this is actually good. Uh, it's it's one of those things where you have to kind of constantly be or you don't have to, but it doesn't hurt to like kind of constantly be trying to kind of hustle your wares, because at the end of the day we're kind of selling a product, and hopefully it's like, as artists, we're making a product that like kind of fights against a lot of the bad commercial stuff, but still at the end of the day, like, we're making a thing, and there's so many competing things that I think it's important to like spend that. Even though today I wanted to do the art stuff first, I think it's important to kind of hit that other angle, even if it leads nowhere. And that's the hard part about doing those things, is like, to me, the nihilist or the darker part of me, usually gets really discouraged when you send out stuff like that. But anyhow, here I am rambling, and we're like 10 minutes into the show. Let's get to art. Let's get to art. Okay. So here's the format for anybody who's tuning in for like a new, for the first time. For, of course, returning viewers, you guys already know the format. But right down there is the script section. So when we get to roughing things out, we'll go to the page in the script. You'll be able to see like kind of how I'm interacting with the script. And then right over there, actually, I guess left over there, I guess that would be your right if you're watching, is the page that I'll be working on. So in this case, the panels that I want to revise are panel 6 and panel 9, which are really hard to read. I went a little too far with the atmosphere, and so we're going to kind of get in there and revise. Keith said, I'm working in a weird D&D inspired story, or on a weird D&D inspired story. Man, that's a whole realm I really want to work in. At some point, I don't know. At some point, I'd love to delve into like doing some high fantasy stuff. I feel like I've been doing so much of this slice of life reality stuff, and even doing this historical fiction is such a like fun way to kind of stretch the artistic muscles. So here we go. So I'm going to turn off a little bit of the steam. I think that's going to help. And right now for the revisions, I think I'm going to actually see it in black and white so I can clarify the panel a little more. So what I'm going to do here, I think I might paint over in white using the brush. That's my thought, to kind of clarify some of these details and just add a little bit more light to it. And then we might have to kind of re-separate the black line art again, which is fine. But this might be helpful if you guys are working on a project that is kind of executed in a similar way. Doing edits like this when you're working with just solid black and white is a million times quicker than kind of patching in on a page that's got this like heavy rendering on it. So I am keeping this on a separate layer. I'm also at this point, before I forget to, I'm going to save this as, and it's going to be with a 1 after the file name. That way I'm retaining my original. And that's always good to kind of keep different iterations of your files, because yeah, you don't want to be in a scenario where, and I'm sure we've all had that moment where you're like working on art and digitally, and then you make a mistake that is now embedded forever on your file, and you have to redo work that you already did. Nobody wants to be in that scenario. So to avoid being in that, I'm going to turn off the rain too. To avoid being in that scenario, we're going to kind of make that a little clearer. Sorry, not make it a little clearer. That was me zoning out in the creative zone. To say that properly, making another layer or another file is always good, because then you're being kind of non-destructive, which is good. And the way I edit these things is super destructive. so I saving iterations of files is not a bad route to go. So right now I'm just going to kind of go in like as if I have um still the same limit to my tools. I've talked about this before, but whenever I'm trying to get like a more hand done look to a digital file, half of the trick is I think of like what are my mediums? Like in this case, I'm pretending that I have the limit of like a black Prismacolor pencil, and then like I do have a white Prismacolor pencil, or white gouache, I guess, as like an option too. I just don't want to also, lose some of that texture. So I might rewash over some of this stuff. But again, my goal here is just to kind of clarify some of the details that got lost before. I kind of liked this guy's rad Dick Tracy nose that I drew here too. So I'm just going to go in there and kind of add a little more lighting to it so we can kind of more clearly tell what this is. Um, but Keith, that sounds pretty rad, man. D&D inspired stuff sounds fun as hell. All right. So we're kind of getting there. I need to just kind of highlight some of the pencils that I have under there cuz I buried them a little bit. A little bit too much. I went a little too far with the atmosphere. And that's kind of the fun of like the pencil sort of vibe of this book. It's like a push and pull. And in general, luckily I've been very fortunate on the last few pages to not have like a lot of moments of like having pushed a little too far. But this time that moment finally came. Um, and I mean, that's just art. It's like I think especially with different styles, you're gonna have that sort of risk with your art where you might push and pull, especially if you're doing rendering. Um, and so you might have to kind of get in there and sort of brighten things up. So now we're starting to see a little more clearly what's happening here. I think what I need to highlight here is also like his arm. Um, and I'm gonna go in there with some black again too, so because I'm gonna lose some detail when I'm doing this. Philip said the 3/4 down view on that carriage is well done. That's a tricky thing to draw at that angle, especially. Thanks. I didn't feel like I did it very well. I feel like I hid a lot of it in black. Um, but luckily, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to kind of work for the story. But I guarantee you, like, we've had David Chelsea on Artcasters, who's like an expert in perspective. And one of my biggest fears in life is David like going through my panels. I'm sure Corey has this too. Like, I don't think any of us would want, want David to like go through and be like, here's where you messed up on perspective. Because at the end of the day, I do a lot of cheating with my perspective. But I do understand the basics of it. And this is why I think even if you're not going to be like a crazy stickler on perspective, having a general understanding of it like helps. I'm sure Philip, you understand that too. Like in animation, it's kind of similar where it's like you can kind of cheat perspective, but if you don't know the base of what you're cheating, then it can fall apart really quickly. Whereas if you have a general understanding of the thing you're trying to kind of emulate very quickly and rawly, um, you can kind of pull it off a little better. So that's how I'm gonna justify it. But thank you. I just realized I spent like 10 minutes like deflecting a compliment, and I usually actually give Corey a hard time about that kind of thing. I need to get better, and I've talked to Corey about this. We both have talked about this, but I need to get better at just being like, "Thank you." Yeah, and Philip said you have to know where to bend the rules. I think even David's aware of that. Like he's talked about that. Like if you're on a deadline, you kind of you kind of have to bend the rules a little bit. Um, But if you're unaware of the rules you're bending, then if you bend too far, you may not realize it, or you might not bend consciously. And that's I'd say like that's the biggest thing that like separates older artists from like newer artists is just that simple stuff. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting a little more of that. But it's starting to get that like blobby vibe of like a bad digital painting. And I want to bring it back into drawing territory. So I'm gonna kind of get back in there with the black. We're gonna work in just a little bit of that texture again, just so we're kind of keeping a little bit of that roughness. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of the line work that I'm now missing. Hopefully this is, interesting to you guys. So another thing that I've been thinking about today, and I know this is weird, when I talk about this stuff, I think it might give the impression that I'm like constantly freaked out or concerned or whatever. But I will talk about it anyway because I think it's important. I think when you're on a big project like this, it is very tempting to get overloaded and freaked out. Like if a revision comes in, it's like, oh, I'll just say like what my younger self would have thought. Like when a revision came in, I'd be like, oh no, because I have hundreds of pages I have to do. Like now I have to take the time to do a revision. Um, and you can kind of get overwhelmed or overloaded. And then it becomes this like self fulfilling prophecy because you end up freaking yourself out so much that um that like the good art like never really quite gets done. And part of my method with this is just something I've picked up, especially in art direction, where it's like you get thrown curveballs all the time and you just kind of have to roll with it. So and also go forward in faith that it'll kind of work out. Like it just kind of has a tendency to work out. And I'm gonna make sure it works out. So that's kind of my big trick with that. So okay, we're just highlighting this, fixing it a little bit. I want to tone back now just a little bit of that. But hopefully when I'm done with this, it's going to make it work a little better in black and white. And we'll see once we kind of re-separate the blacks after this whole process. Um, you know, uh just like we did before when I was having to like finish this page, if this actually makes like progress. Another reason not to like kind of freak out with revisions too is like it's just part of the process. And also often they don't take quite as long or aren't quite as hard as they seem to be. And really a lot of it's just like kind of playing and trying something and being willing to be like, hey, maybe this won't work, maybe it will. The neat thing too is like when you've done this for a while, you start learning. Like for me to revise this page because I'm, familiar with like working with clients and stuff like that. It's like it's pretty okay for like I've developed a pretty decent skill at like being able to look at something and be like, okay, I see what they're talking about. I bet this will fix it. Um, However, even now, it's like I still have days where I'll be off and wrong and like a page just isn't going to happen. Those are frustrating days too. I'd be kind of curious. I don't know. I almost want to ask Corey, but it's like, you know, yeah, to me, some of the most frightening times I've had as an artist, I don't get them often, but I think like once a year, there's like a day where I sit down to draw and I just can't draw. It freaks me out. It makes me think like, oh man, did I like lose it? Um, and again, if I just kind of proceed forward, or even like in those cases, that's usually a good sign. Like to me, it's like, oh, okay, I need to like either loosen up if I can, or like that's where break breaking may not be an option. Like you might actually need to take a break, go for a walk, that kind of thing. Oh, Corey had one of those yesterday. I'm sorry, man. Because those are few and far between the more seasoned you get at this, but it's like, man, that can be just it can create like so much anxiety. And it's funny because well, it's not funny. It's just it's sad because it's like even when you're going through something like that, it's you. Like it's like in there and you can access it still. It's just like it really is just a matter of like kind of having the faith and trust to kind of go forward with it. So hard to go through though. I mean, I guess that's like first world problems kind of thing, like art problems, but still, that's like those can be rough nights. Um, and again, like I think you make a lot more progress just giving it a shot, you know. Okay. Look at that. That I think that works. Let's look at it comparatively. So if you were to look at this, you might be like, what's going on? I think in this you can tell a little more clearly what's going on. I do want to tone back his jacket just a little bit. Don't want it to look too watercolory, right? I think that's a little more clear. I think something that might help here too, let's see, is to lighten up a little bit of the sidewalk. I went a little dark on the sidewalk too. And if we have just some areas of light that kind of highlight, and this could easily be one of those scenarios of like, well, maybe that's not going to fix it. But I think just having like a little bit of light will make that pop a little more. And maybe we'll do a little bit of that to the cobblestone underneath here to kind of pull like a little bit of the focus back and clarity back. So I went a little haywire on the texture, but it kind of makes sense, right? Because like you have to realize that I've been working on a graphic novel that has no texture to work with whatsoever. It's all been like straight black and white, and then the texture I've allowed myself on that is like um has been mostly like cross hatching and stuff. And then even Jacobs was like even more minimal with what I'd allow myself to kind of work with. So like being a guy who like grew up making like punk flyers and stuff, it's like being able to have some raw like texture is super fun. So okay. I think we clarified that. And we'll tone it back a little bit with color. We might have to recolor that section too. But I think I'm going to call that revised. I think that clarifies it a little more. Now I just want to do a little more of the same here. Oh, there was another thing. They didn't like the cane, and I'm okay with that. Um, they were a little more familiar with Robert, and they're like, I don't think Robert would use a cane. And to be honest, I was just kind of excited to draw a cane, but I'm not like that. Definitely wasn't one of those character choices where I'm like, no, I'm gonna die on this hill. I was like, okay, we'll lose the cane. So I just have to patch out that cane. And what's fun is if you guys are, pick up this comic later on, like there's a bunch of this kind of thing in Jacobs and in a lot of my work. But the nice thing if you're following along behind the scenes, you can be the one guy who's like, hey, I know where that patch happened, you know. And back in the day, if you were a cartoonist, you'd be doing this as like, you know, pay like you'd have to cut out a piece of paper and paste it over the section you needed to revise. So I should be thankful for that too. So we're removing the cane. Here I don't think the cane is like super visible. I'm gonna do I think I might just have his hand here now. And we're just busting through revisions here. I almost forgot about the removing the cane revision. It's another reason I like doing these things. Corey said, "Of course, I sat down to draw a complicated crowd scene with no reference." So yeah, yeah, that's tough. Here, this is easy. This is easy to get rid of. Look at that, no cane, like magic. All right, and then we want to clarify this page a little bit. So I'm gonna have just a little more detail here. A little more lighting on the hat. I actually feel like this was kind of working, and this one might be solved a little bit with just a little bit more light, and then definitely this one was more. I just went overboard with the mist. So I think once I've gotten rid of the mist that was overlaying it, I think this panel will read a lot more clearly. um, let's see here. And then I think I need to clarify a little bit of what's going on with her too. So we're gonna lighten this up. Again, I went just a little a shade too far with the textures there, right? It's so fun though. Like I really do enjoy the textures. And I tend to also like I really like heavy blacks, and so for me, I'll probably always end up as an artist. That's probably going to be more my weakness is going to be going too dark than too light. Um, and I've noticed that about artists, like even young artists, like there tend to be two kinds of artists. Ones that struggle with like going like way too soft and light, and then others that just go way too hard like at first. And I'm more on that end of like the whoa, hey, pull back there a little bit, bud. Like that's a little far. I also think here it wouldn't hurt me to kind of have a little bit of a semblance of like maybe a room or something behind. So we have like just a little bit more of like a idea of like what is going on behind this lady. All right. So I think that'll bring a little more attention to what is occurring, what's important in this panel. The other thing that needs to be revised in that script was I went a little too hard on the action sequence. Like it's not an action sequence like an action comic. It's like an action sequence that's um like showing a letter being removed from a coat. And I think my concern is always clarity. So if I have a choice between being ambiguous and being clear, I will be redundant if need be, just to make sure my storytelling is being clear visually. But they pointed out that like I don't need to show him like reaching into his pocket and then pulling out the letter. We can just show him with the letter, and people can kind of make that assumption themselves. So I'm going to look at how that is and see if I can consolidate some of those letter pages too. But we'll see how far we get with just these revisions first. So a little more clear. What is still falling apart here? I think the door gets a little too dark. And I just Went a little too hard on the textures, guys. And even just adding a little bit of that, just so people can tell what's going on there. It's a door. I don't mind like the mist and the somewhat ambiguity of it, but I do think having just a little more there would be good. And we're gonna have just a tiny bit. Okay. I'm gonna call that more clear now. So I don't know what you guys think, but I think that's way clearer. Let's see if it's clearer with the mist. I think it is clear with the mist. Okay. That's cool. I may not have to get rid of the mist and the rain. Wow. How nice is that? Okay, so now we're going to do this little trick where I'm going to do merge down. I'm going to select all. I'm going to copy. I'm going to make a new file. This is just a trick if you already are at the point where, okay, I'm going to paste. I'm going to paste in place. Now we're going to go to our channels. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go select inverse. Boom. Look at that. And now I'm going to make a new layer. This I will fill with my, no, I'm not going to fill it yet. Okay. Shift F5. I'm going to copy this. Now, this might require just a little bit of tweaking to get, hold on, edit, paste in place. Oh no. Everything was working great until I had to align it. There we go. I think that'll lock in. Did that lock in? I think it did. Now we can have this, and then we can go to our rich black 50, 50, 50, and 100. And we'll fill it. And then we can go back to our, look at that. Okay, there might be some color shifts too to do. So in this case, to make it a little less strange, I think I'm going to do lightening this up a little bit. I think I'm going to do a little bit less of the atmosphere here. Oh, good. So maybe the atmosphere will be a little less, right? Maybe we'll do just a little bit less atmosphere there. Okay, and then kind of digging that. I want to highlight a little more of these colors. So again, we're just trying to make clarity, right? Huh. think I might have had the select all thing on. You know what though? That works okay. That's okay. Okay. Here we're going to do one real quick thing, which is want to actually keep their areas dark, and that's fine. See just a little bit. Just a little bit more saturation. Might even want to go with like more of a green. I hope this is kind of making sense. Nope. Actually, that does work a little better. So I'm gonna just real quick save this, and then let's look and see. Let's see if this is. Oh, hold on, rain. We might have to do a little edit to the rain as well. So some of this rain can just disappear. In areas that I want to highlight just a little bit. There we go. Okay. So now let's do a compare and contrast, okay? And then I also noticed that Gary said good evening. And then Keith said it's a lovely evening. I love it. Okay. So okay, now let's do a compare and contrast and see if we revised this page. What'll be sad is I open it up and it looks exactly the same. So what do you guys think? Like between this and this, which is more clear? I feel like this is a little bit better. It's a little bit more clear on what's going on. I can tell a little bit more. I think the only thing I'm seeing here that's going to be problematic now on my new page is the color that I chose for this dude's jacket. Did I really choose the same color as the rug for the jacket? That just doesn't make a lot of sense. That is going to cause total confusion. Total confusion on the next Joshua Kemble live stream. Total confusion. Sorry, that just sounded like a 90s game show or something. What do you think, Gary? Should we start a 90s game show called Total Confusion? Okay. Gary Hodges, Corey Kerr, Philip Chandler in Total Confusion, hosted by Keith Harper. What do you guys think? I don't know. I'm trying to think of game shows here, guys. Yes. Alfred Hitchcock Presents, where it's like, "Good evening, good evening." I can't do a good Hitchcock, but I always thought it was funny. I don't know. He has such a great Alfred Hitchcock had such a rad way of slurring his. I don't know. It's I feel like there's an era of time where like everyone sounded like a total alcoholic. Like they had these slurs when they were speaking. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? There was definitely something. I don't think Hitchcock. I don't know if Hitchcock was hitting the sauce, but he for sure had like the tone. he, he definitely had some of those speech patterns of someone who's long hit the beverages. Just trying to think of a way to brighten this up and differentiate it a little bit still. Hey, you know what? You know what? You know what? I think that might do it. Let's check it out. Comparison. What do you guys think? Clearer? I feel like that's a much clearer panel. Yep. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, snap. Circworks just hopped in the chats. Bustin. Um, this is that Beastie Boys or am I crazy? I think that was a Beastie Boys. Philip said, I always thought that was because he was so overweight. His cheeks were so puffy that his words came out like that. Yes, Willa. Oh, see, now I've lost it. I feel like I had a pretty good Alfred Hitchcock. That's it. I With him, you have to say his name to get the tone right. It's Alfred Hitchcock presents. Have you ever looked at birds? Now, see, now I'm sounding like Bill Cosby, which is not a good thing. A Cosby Hitchcock would not be a good thing. Um, Keith Harper said mid-Atlantic accent of that era drove me crazy. Just the way actors were taught to speak back then. I don't know though, because I kind of love it. Like, one of my favorite movies is called Bringing Up Baby, and it's like it's got Katharine Hepburn and now I'm blanking out on his name. EPMD. Thank you. Oh man, my goodness, Scott. I have lost all hip hop credibility. but um, but anyhow, Scott, what do you think about that? Mass Confusion. That could be our new game show. Um, anyhow, so it was just a really good movie, and it had a lot of the mid-Atlantic accents going on in it, and so it was it's I don't know. It's kind of fun when someone has a voice like that. I don't know. I think there's something fun about the mid-Atlantic accent, even though no one talked like that. There's a riff on that in the movie Some Like It Hot, where oh my gosh, I'm blanking out on the actor who did an impersonation of Cary Grant. And at one point, he's talking to somebody on the beach, like doing a voice like Cary Grant. And he basically at one point is just like, nobody talks like this. And it's funny. Um, to me, not to the audience, not to you guys. uh, and that's not your fault. That's mine. I'm no comedian. Okay, so speaking of that, ending my failure at a comedy routine there, we have page 7, panel 1 is revised. I think we've managed to keep some of the atmosphere, and make it work. So I'm going to call that done. So what I will do is probably print a copy. That's for me. And then I'm going to save it as a JPEG, for the client. I know there's like a GIF versus GIF debate online. That's an age-old debate. But have you heard of the JPEG versus JPEG? JPEG? That's how I like to pronounce JPEG. The JPEG. The JPEG. JPEG. Man, I get goofy when I'm working. Like, yeah, I feel kind of bad for people who are watching along sometimes because I get very silly and goofy as I'm working late into the night. I'm feeling better about this though. Like I'm comparing the JPEGs, just the JPEGs, and I think it's clearer what's occurring. I think it's a lot clearer. We got rid of the cane. I was a little bummed about the cane disappearing because I was singing that there's like a Yoda song about a stick, and I think when I was working on the roughs I was singing that song. But oh well, the stick is gone. But you guys will know in a year from now or 2 years from now when this thing hits the shelves, you'll be like, that guy had a cane. I know that because I am awesome. Okay. Oh, Keith was saying, no, from the U.S., the Midwest. I mean, it drove me crazy trying to figure out where that manner of speaking came from. Just recently learned that it has a name, and that it was made up. Yeah, it was like this whole thing in Hollywood where like everybody was just like, this is how elegant people talk. They talk like this. And then Keith also said that's like calling Target Target, and I want the cane variant cover. I love it. That's what I'll do at like signings. I'll just go to this page and just draw a cane in his hand and be like, that's how it was meant to be. They're like, why are you drawing all over my book? Well, you wanted me to sign it. And then I'll just add monocles to everyone too. It's just, I feel like it needs to be more period authentic. Everyone has a monocle now. Okay. So now we're going to do, okay. So we have that first round of roughs done. Back to focusing, guys, back to focusing. Okay. So I'm going to put the old in old. I have a folder that says old, and then we're going to open up our roughs from yesterday for page 9, and we're going to make adjustments on those. Was there anything else? Let me see. Okay. 6 and 9, panels 6 and 9, we corrected that. Boom, done. Is Robert carrying a cane? I don't think him as a cane guy, so boom, done. Cane gone. First 3 panels, could we move those to 1 or 2? I don't think we need to spend an extra beat showing Robert pulling the letter out. And this might just be my like storyboarding era kind of thing. Okay, this is going to require a little bit of panel rework. Okay. So what do you guys think? This is where I'm going to ask the chat. So Robert's supposed to be pulling out a letter. He's pulling it out from his jacket pocket. Do you think this sequence, if we were to go from panel, oh my goodness. I need to like majorly isolate. Okay. Isolate these layers real quick. Still some sloppy setup here. Merge visible. Okay. No, I don't want to discard hidden. Let's just merge the visible. Thank you. Okay. So there's some sloppy file setup, but I just fixed that. So, okay. Now let's ask that question. What do you guys think? Do you think it should go from, obviously, I'm going to have to rework the panel size, but do you think it should go from panel 1 to panel 3? And, where it's showing Robert standing up holding the letter. First one's him reaching in. So, like this sequence. Or do you think it works better with, like, this sequence? What do you guys think? 2 and 3 or 1 and 3 for actions? Here, I'll zoom in so you guys can get a better view. Let's see if I can pull this wider. So panel 1 and 3 or 2 and 3? Just say in the chats what you guys think works best. Interesting. So Keith is saying 2 and 3, and Gary says 1 and 3. Yeah, because I think you're right. Keith, I also see what you're saying, because then it's showing the letter. But I do kind of feel like this is showing an action. Actually, you know what's funny? I thought I was being like a sequential snob and being all on point with that. But actually, that was redundant, because we see the same action with panel 1 to panel 3. So I'm going to kind of go with Gary's call on that. Now I'm so depressed having to listen to Gary. I'm just kidding. Thanks a lot, Gary. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, Gary. I do actually appreciate it. Have you guys ever dealt with like a young artist who asks you for like feedback? You give them feedback, like they literally are asking for critique, not a person who's just showing you their art and they just kind of want to compliment or something like that. But like literally are like, hey, what do you think of this art? Like, what do you think I could improve on? Like, or they ask for like advice on something, like, how do I get into like editorial illustration or animation or something? And then you answer and they like look really angry at you for just giving them an honest critique, or just telling them like how you think they could actually get in the industry. Have you guys ever had that? I don't know. I've had that. And it's always funny to me, because it's like, it's one of those like, oh, you're asking but you didn't want an answer, not you guys, but that wouldn't apply to like anyone I know who watches this show. But it's just something that came into mind when I was parodying that sort of thing, where it's like, hey, what do you guys think? And then like I kind of like Gary's answer, it solves my problem, but I'm like, oh, I guess now I'm so mad. Okay. Anyhow, oh no! I think I've started a fight. Keith Harper says flips table. Oh, Philip. Okay, we were trying to decide 1 and 3 or 2 and 3 for panels, and I think that Gary said 1 and 3. Keith was saying 2 and 3. I kind of sided with Gary and Keith, but I think you guys should fight about it on the next Joshua Kemble live stream. I think I'll moderate it. It could be Keith versus Gary. You guys could fight. We'll have like a cage match. How does that sound? Gary, Saturday, cage match on Gary Hodges' stream. What do you think? Okay. And then you fast forward and it's like, I don't know, what would an artist's version of a cage match be? I don't think it would be much of a cage match. Oh, Keith said Frank is already my arch enemy. Okay. I feel like Frank makes some arch enemies out there. He's a bit of a he's got like a wrestling. He's got some the kayfabe enemies are strong with Frank. And I think the kayfabe is so strong too that like most folks would be like, it's not kayfabe, it's real. Gary was saying, I'm thinking of maybe doing an AMA for my stream Saturday, so we'll have to delay a brawl. All right. Well, you should have Keith on and just, do a cage match. I don't like showing the full arm, so I'm still working this out, how we're going to kind of rework the paneling here. I think there are ways I can kind of stretch this without kind of reworking it. To be honest, I kind of forced the perspective a little bit here, so that could be adjusted. Kind of consolidating a panel. The downside of comics is a decision like, let's remove a panel, like affects the entire composition of the page. Okay. All right, we're gonna get there, guys. We're just doing quick and dirty fixes. But I have to say, there's something. What's funny? That's actually, now I'm actually doing more accurate perspective on this shot because these were like giants, like these figures. So that actually corrects something that was kind of bugging me about that page anyway. But I also need to. The devil happened there. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're getting a little closer. We can kind of trim that. Make that a little bit closer. We can have a little bit more space here. It's kind of great because the dialogue area there was a little crunched anyway, so stretch out the drawing desk here. We're getting there, you guys. This is another reason, by the way, when you're working with a publisher or even on your own stuff, like, unless you have like the full work finished, and then you'll have to get in there, you might have to revise a few things, right? And do a little bit of this on a final. But when you're developing something, it's so important, especially in a collaboration, to do roughs, because like this takes no time at all now. But if this were something I had to do on like a finished page, it's like, great, now we're talking like a crap load of work. So yeah, roughs save you a lot. But that's what this dog actually in the panel, Flush, her dog, named Flush, that's what what Flush thinks, that roughs are really important in art. I'm here all night, guys. Okay. Oh, cool. We got a lot of stuff. So Gary was saying delayed brawl. All right, guys. I was gonna get like pay-per-view subscriptions and stuff for it. I was gonna recommend that like people like, during the brawl, like do super chats to like kind of decide like who wins the battle. Um, I had a whole plan, Gary, and you've just destroyed it. I'm just kidding. um, okay, so and then Keith said, I used to do Photoshop battles on forums back in the day. Designers throwing stuff back and forth, building on what was added, set number of round, fun stuff. Dude, I kind of remember something like that in the Threadless community. Um, there was like a I can't even remember now, but it was like I think it was like there's an official kind of Adobe version of that. That a lot of the like threadless designers like I don't know if that's the same thing, Keith, but like they used to like pick teams. So they'd have like teams of designers, and then it was you'd get like paired up with like a group on some of them. Yeah, but I do kind of remember that. my throat's just gonna be like all croaky, which probably means we're probably at the hour mark. If I'm starting to sound more and more like the longer we go, like if I start sounding more and more like Emperor Palpatine, there's a good chance that we're at that mark. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna merge visible here. I'm gonna merge my visibility here. Okay. Um, all right, we're gonna close this out and merge down. Oh yeah, I can definitely feel that we're at that hour mark because um you guys will notice this too, I think, with me, but like I start becoming a little less and less coherent when we're at the hour mark. What what is that? Oh no. Oh no. Somehow. Okay. I merged the wrong layer there, guys. Okay. Now we should be able to do it. Okay. So let's try merging visible again. I definitely don't want to merge the 22 panels that always work from our last stream. Although I guess that could be kind of meta if you had that like underlaid under your panels. Just but I don't know if I want to get that meta on a book that's supposed to be referencing Victorian London. It's like, wait a minute. Wally Wood was back in Victorian times? Yeah, back in Victorian times. This is a truth that's been since like Wally Wood's panels that always work. That's existed since like cave paintings, you guys. Like it was actually on the Chevet cave. Back when, there were like pictures of buffalo and there was like really interesting ways to frame conversation sequences. Okay, we're going to save this as, again, we're kind of saving our old files too. So saving this as 9.1. Okay. That is one thing taken care of. So we got rid of the first 3 panels into 2 or 1. Done. 4 and 6. Robert looks somewhat threatening, and Elizabeth looks a little scared. It might be the framing, but the emotion should be more frustrated, secretive, and desperate. So, and then Robert's supposed to be kind of trying to keep things light and calm for Elizabeth's sake. So, basically, I need to rework Robert's face in panel 3 so he doesn't look angry. And then I think for panel 5, I'm going to also make it more like Robert's. I might even rework his pose a little bit. But before we get into that, Keith was saying Wally Wood, time traveler. That's right. Keith was saying maybe it was like Monograph or something like that, early 2000. Yeah, those were the days. It was an age of forums. Designers would enter into competition and also send memes to each other in forums. I miss the forum days. There was a lot of fun in those days. Like real connections with other designers too. Like in Threadless, there was like this thriving forum community. Now, if you go to Threadless, it's just all the forums are just people spamming. Check out my art. Check out my art. And I get it. It's kind of the name of the game, but I do miss those like real intimate interactions that would happen in forums. Plus, man, some of the humor those days. Anyhow, Wally Wood, time traveler. That's Keith Harper. I like it. Okay. I will be right back. We're at the hour. We're well past the hour mark. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the trailer for Jacob's Apartment, which is my graphic novel about Wally Wood traveling through. No, I'm just kidding. That would be amazing. So I have a slice of life graphic novel in the vein of Eternal Sunshine and the Spotless Mind, or Ghost World, where it's like a story that talks about the types of things that can cause, even that can shake even the strongest of faith, and interlocking dreams in both reality and fictional actual dream worlds, like interlocking. And that is the weakest game I've done on a pitch. So let's go ahead and let the trailer speak for me, because it'll speak better. All right, I'll see you guys in about a minute with coffee. Clearly it seems that only in dreams can we these things we've seen and walk around breathing things. I don't know the part to play in this heart of mine. There's dissonant things, they split at the seams. All right, so that trailer says May, but it actually comes out June 7th. But make sure you check that out. And also, if you're in Toronto or New York or Michigan, like an area where Toronto's not like super far away. Michigan. Yes, Michigan would be really close. Make sure you go to TCAF at the end of June. I'll be there. Stop by the Graphic Mundi booth and pick up a copy. Get it signed, or bring your copy. That would be even better. The copy that you pre-ordered. And then I should be having a signing at Barnes & Noble in July as well. And I'm booking and lining up other signings as we speak. But if you're curious about like events where you can kind of pick up a copy, or maybe even get a copy of 2 stories signed or whatever, just hang out, talk. that'll be on my events page, which is on joshuakemble.com. So I think it's like a section that says like live events or appearances, and that'll take you to that. Okay, where were we? Okay, we're gonna brighten up now. My only hope here is I'm hoping that I can have less of a I mean, if you block the dialogue, it does look like it does look like he's like super mad and kind of telling her off. So I do need to kind of adjust that. Oh, cool. And then Philip said that's a good idea. I should have it by then, so I'll come see you at the show. Yeah, dude. I'll look forward to it. Um, I'm really excited to. Maybe you can tell me places to eat around the area too, because this will be my first trip to the Canada areas. Okay. And I have heard excellent things about that. So, okay, he's more being like sarcastic here. So I think if I have, okay, we're going to have like the eyebrow raised. This is where we're going to play with expression a little bit. And actually, well, you know what? These are roughs. I was going to say I wanted to start getting into those eyes and like kind of brightening them up a little bit. And then maybe it'll be more of like a let's see if that works. We're gonna kind of play with this, okay? I might end up having to change the angle. But we'll see. We'll see. And I like to, whenever I'm doing kind of revisions, but I'm maintaining part of a drawing, I'll literally just draw it in like a totally different tone over the previous drawing. It's like an old animation trick that I picked up back in the day in the illustration programs at Cal State Long Beach is that's the official name too. It's Long Beach's. Man, on a roll today. Okay, looks a little nefarious, but a little less intimidating. Um, it's that eye. It's that eye. That's too much. And that's a little too much. Okay. What is going on with my freaking frick? All right. I think that's a little clearer. Yeah, I would imagine I mean, Toronto's a big city. I would imagine there's probably like a ton of awesome joints to eat at. Man, it's funny. I haven't been overseas in a long time either, so that's going to be interesting to I think like a wider smile. Like if the smile ends up like this, it kind of ends up looking like a Joker smile. But I think if you kind of have it more like showing teeth, um, although that can still, and then of course we're going to adjust the lighting a little bit. So we'll see if this makes it a little more sarcastic-y. Let's see, you guys. Let's find out. And let's make this just even more less threatening. Okay, so we're gonna have maybe the posture is a little less leaning in. There we go. It's a little less dynamic, but that's okay. Like we're kind of de-escalating the situation here, guys. The situation with these individuals on this page, we're gonna de-escalate the situation with the individuals here. Warn it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he still kind of seems a little nefarious. Maybe it's too much dimple. And I think the eyes maybe should be more like here. Oh, definitely not there. There we go. We don't want to see a lot of the whites of the eyes. That's part of what was making it like terrifying as well, right? So there we go. Again, it's also a rough, but whatever. I like that hand upturned. That's good. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do like a hand upturned. Ah, yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. This actually works. Okay. Because if we can kind of bring a little levity to it. Oh, snap. Keith versus Philip. Philip was saying the eyebrows angling inwards sort of does that to Keith. Are you going to take that, Keith Harper? Tune in on Gary Hodges' live stream on Saturday or on Saturday afternoon as the cage match between Keith Harper and Philip Chandler commences. He was going to do an AMA and unfortunately had to move the AMA in order to have these two titans of industry face each other in combat. I can dream, can't I? Keith was like, Josh is starting the stuff. No. I think it's actually, you guys both made really valid points, but the hand and the eyebrows are doing it. But now that like once I add the hand, you're right. Like this upturned palm, all I need to do is just have the because now it's a gag, That's perfect. Just that's all we need, just like a little hint of that. So you guys are both wonderful. Gary was saying Josh is trying to make drama. I don't know what you're talking about, Gary, and I think we need to have a cage match about it on Saturday on Gary Hodges' stream. It's gonna be just like pure blood sports. You won't know what happened. It's gonna be like cartoonists just at each other's throats, just like it's like there's a cornucopia and it has art supplies in the corner, and you just have artists just vying for the cornucopia to survive, like, So what do you guys think? Like I said, when I'm up late, I get goofy. Trial by combat, exactly. Exactly. Um, I mean, how do you guys think the masters got good at art? Do you think it was just from painting or was it from cage matches? like like Albrecht Dürer and Schongauer were just like having straight up cage matches all the time. Okay, so now we need to adjust. Um, like there's that one time Michelangelo like traveled through time to fight Van Gogh and just took off his ear. He was just like done. Goodbye, Van Gogh's ear. And then he's like, I'm out. And got in his time machine, right back, to his like Medici hideout where he's like, I got Van Gogh's ear. That's actually how Van Gogh really lost his ear. You see, we should do an alternate history comic collectively. Maybe I'll do that on the next thing. Philip was saying, I have the utmost respect for you, but I want to reach in and fix the structure of that face so badly. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. But it's a rough, so whatever. Okay. So I don't want her to be as frightened or freaked out. All right, so we have. Oh, Keith also said hands are great for conveying meaning along with faces. It might be a little cartoony, but it works. Yeah, I agree. So now we're doing a thumb here, working out story beats. You're right, of course. I mean, I should draw like a through line, like anyhow. So also like his eyeball. Okay, I'll correct his eyeball just to like make you a little more comfortable with it because that eyeball was really bad. At least we can get that a little more on, so it's not going to bug you. Because I do see what you're saying, my dude. There's a lot more that needs to be fixed, but there's also like clarifying that this is like a beard here, and also we need to get like his Wolverine chops in there. I think it's pretty cool that he had Wolverine chops. Um, oh my gosh, I love it, Keith. We need to do Wallywood Time Traveler as a comic. Um, Hands are great. Wally Wood was there during those battles, and that is how he came up with his 22 panels that always work. Perhaps it is a fighting style, like like the 36 chambers of Shaolin. I swear, you guys make working on comics so much fun. Now I want to go through the 22 panels and like interpret it as like which fighting style it is, but now I have to like focus on drawing. Oh man. I want to just be in a writer's room with you guys. I think that would be a lot more fun. No, Philip, I get it. That especially that eyeball was gonna give anyone like OCD type issues. All right. This one it's just his arm. He's kind of doing like a dictatorial thing, so this is a real easy fix here. Boom. He has like more of a kind of hooked. Man, I'm drawing eyes off today. Do do do. Whatever. I am off my game today. Okay, so we're gonna have it like that. There's his got Wolverine chops going on there. Wolverine chops. He should be looking at her. That would be good. And here, maybe it's. Oh my gosh. I didn't want to do that. I accidentally. I was hitting E and I think I accidentally hit T. Okay. I'm I'm loving this idea though, Keith, of like the time traveling fighting well, see the only thing is you can't do fighting Renaissance painters, right? I mean, Ninja Turtles kind of have Renaissance painter names. I don't know, maybe you could. It would be funny to have these time travelers though who like it's like the Da Vinci Code, but it's really just cartooning. Like the comics are like the code. I guess there was a bad show on Netflix that was talking about like comics as prophecies or something. But this would be the comic itself is like a secret fighter scroll that only cartoonists can unlock. What would his arm be doing? Yeah, that's a little less threatening. Okay. Doop 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 doop. Doop 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 doop. Why the devil now is what he's saying, but now it's like less angry, right? Which is good. We don't want angry Robert Brownings because Robert has not unlocked the Wallywood. Um, oh my gosh! Instead of the 36 chambers, right? It's like the 22 panels. 22 panels of Wallywood's fighting style. If you properly decode it, it's actually not instructions for an assistant that was working with Wallywood. It's instructions for how to like use the most potent fighting style on Earth. I don't like that. That's just too much there, and also that eyebrow is a little much. So we're gonna do here. There you go. Oh, we do want it raised though. We want it raised, just not so much. There we go. Ba 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 ba. There we go. Done and done. You guys, we revised. We revised. I think it seems way less tense and still has dynamic movement and stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and save this. That's it. Keith touched on it. He said, totally forgot about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but we could call it the Artnomicon. That's very true. And the Artnomicon could have a Comic-Con, so it could be the Artnomicon Comic-Con. And maybe it could be a romantic comedy, so it could be the Artnomicon Comic-Con Romcom. That's I'm here all night, guys. I am here all night with these jokes. Okay, so we're gonna export, save as. And these jokes, like are really practiced under Wallywood's 22 panels, and so they can be deadly jokes, like very dangerous jokes. Okay. I don't know why I'm such a goofball today. All right. JPEG. I'm going to save this as a copy. And now we are in good territory because revisions are done, you guys. So with the revisions being done, now we can move on to the real stuff. But I'm going to probably go ahead and do another trailer, another book trailer real quick. Big silhouette attack. That was another Keith Harper. So I'm probably going to do another trailer this time for 2 stories because most of the time I like doing these breaks at the top of the hour. But when you have like a wonderful moment where you've finished something and you're about to start a totally new task, that can be a really effective way to kind of reset. So first, before we kind of get into that, I'm going to go ahead and put the old rough page 9 in. Oh, wait. We keep that? Okay. So I have to kind of organize some files here off screen. Okay, I've got my JPEG set. I'm going to basically take the old and put it in the old file. So now we've got that. And now we're going to do, so we have page 8. Did that have any revisions? No, page 8 was good. Page 9 now works, I think. Page 10 is going to be an even page, so we're going to copy page 8 as our template. I'm going to save it as page 10, rough page 10. And then I'm going to put on the trailer for 2 stories, and then we're going to come back and we're going to rock this page 10. Here, I'll open it up real quick too. Okay. This is actually page 8 as a template. Blank old template. And so now it's page 10, and the reason I copied page 8 is any even page is going to have a left bleed, and the odd pages are going to have a right side bleed. It's a good thing to remember. All right, guys, here it comes. I just want to say, I know that before I take a break, I just want to say, I know that Gary is having a lot of cage matches this Saturday on his art channel. And I just want to say, I don't condone violence, nor do I I tend to think conflict is not the way to go. I think that we need to give peace a chance. And I don't know, Gary, just reconsider those cage matches. That's all I'm saying. Those things can be brutal, especially if people are well trained in the art of trial by combat in art. Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna put on the trailer for 2 stories. Here it is. Oh my goodness! With a long delay. Okay, here's the trailer for 2 stories, and then we're gonna come back fresh. Thumbnail, page 10. Got a good 2 hours. Okay, here we go. All right. All right. So I'm back. Got a little spicy a little earlier. I think I'm good. I think I've got a coffee refill. I'm ready to do some roughs. It looks like Gary's turning in for the night. I hope you made good progress on Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots. And in all reality, you guys should be following Gary and on YouTube, and he has a great live stream. It doesn't get all crazy and blood sports and stuff like that, but it is a really fun stream full of a lot of really interesting conversations and a lot of really deep thoughts about like the process of art, and then occasional cage matches. So you guys should check it out. Make sure you're subscribed to Gary and that you've picked up copies of Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots, because he's one of the better cartoonists out there. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna get to page 10. Oh, it's Comics Wellspring, right? I don't know if Gary already left. Just let me know if it's Comics Wellspring. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. You should vote for Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots. I don't know if the vote is over yet, but I would do that because I think his cover is up for like a vote on a contest, and he's trying to rile up votes for that. So go forth and do that. And then Philip said, I'm following him. When it comes out, I'll likely pick it up. Yeah, for sure. When those prints go up, you got to grab them before they disappear. Okay. Now, what I'm also going to do is we're going to take the previous page. This is just a trick I do when I'm doing roughs, where now we can get to the creative work. And roughs are part of creative work, you know. Okay. So I have the previous, I'm going to call this page 9. Very systematically setting this up. And then we're going to have, I want to steal my panel borders from a previous rough. I feel like this is a good template to start from because this is the general structure. The generic structure of my my panel borders is that. So make it align with the page grid. That's going to come in handy. So we're going to call this panel borders, or we'll just call it borders. Philip was saying your trailers are giving me an idea when or if I get my children's book finished, I might try something like that. Yeah, I think book trailers are a good, you know, they take some time to make, at least for me, but I think they're very helpful. So like, again, we're selling like visual stuff. So I think it does get you pumped and interested. Yeah, doing a book trailer is not a bad idea. Okay. Here we go, guys. We're going to do the script breakdown now. So if you look down here, that's the script. I don't know if you guys can read it, but I will read through it and kind of break it down. So this is my rough process. And at least tonight, I'm hoping to rough out this page, but maybe I'll just get thumbnails done. We'll find out. Okay, so view, turn off my extras, and then we're going to get into this. Let's get into breaking down the script. Robert takes Elizabeth's hands in his and looks her in the eyes. So our previous page had, where was it? Okay. Okay. Well, okay, so we got one. One is going to be Robert takes EBB's hands, looks in eyes, which actually transitions really well from the previous panel. Oh, Philip was saying, so I had to go back earlier and find out why you removed the panel from the top of the last page. Not sure why. Call me crazy, but I like the 3 panels. I did too, because I tend to think in terms of like visual storytelling, where it's like if there's an action, you want to be as clear as possible with the action. But I also can understand from the publisher's standpoint where they're just like, I don't know, it's a little redundant to show the action twice. I do think it kind of worked best if I had to get rid of one of the panels to have the middle one, particularly because of that, because it was kind of showing in action twice. So it was like the in the coat, out of the coat, and then the next one has a side view of him still holding the letter. So by removing the middle, I still have the in the coat action, and then the next you can kind of intuit what happens between the two. So I can kind of see their viewpoint on it, but I also, as a fan of like Chris Ware, I really like very like sequenced stuff. I don't mind kind of pacing a story where you have like a little bit of extra in there. But whatever. It wasn't a hill I wanted to die on. And then Keith said, Comics Wellspring gets a thumbs up from me as well. I had a good printing experience with them. That's cool. Oh, and he said he voted for Gary. Yeah. It's I hope he gets it. I think that would be cool. Okay, so Robert's going to be saying we must leave directly. You have to be very strong. Okay. I'm going to have the dialogue here. R and E dialogue. This can be like a big panel. It can have that whole sequence. 2. Robert to Wilson. Because the next line is Robert saying, Wilson. And then the maid looks at him from her post at the window. So, dialogue, maid looks, or I'll just say W looks to R. Okay. Robert, I know we can rely on you as always. You will make sure everything is in order with the utmost secrecy. 3. So this is going to be this will be like kind of a close up. This one is going to be like a mid shot. This one could be, I wonder if I should consolidate these into one. I know we can rely on you as always. You will make sure everything is in order with the utmost secrecy. Wilson, yes, Mr. Browning. I like the idea of this being kind of like Wilson in the foreground. Robert and Elizabeth kind of like in the mid. And dialogue. Tenderly, Robert takes Elizabeth's face in his hands. Okay, for close up. Our face and hands. These are just notes to kind of break down the sequence. So I'm consolidating a lot here. Philip was saying, so the publisher has some say in this then. So the publisher and the writer both had that feedback. And to me, I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see what they're saying, especially after removing that middle one. If it were something I felt was like really essential to the story, then I'd be like, yeah, I like it. It's staying. I think I have the freedom to do that. But yeah, that was definitely an editor's feedback. And like the thing I think that's great about working with a publisher is that like editorial feedback, because they're probably right. Like it was a little redundant. Even though my preferences are I don't mind a little redundancy, it wasn't a bad point. It does kind of slow the pace of the story to have that like that second panel in there. Keith said I'm tapping out. Good night all. Well, Keith, thank you for participating in the cage matches. Good luck to you out there. And I'll see you on the next stream. No, I appreciate you stopping by, and it was really fun goofing around with you on stream. So thanks for hanging in the chats. Have a good night. Keith Harper, check out his art too. Really good. Okay. Tenderly, Robert takes Elizabeth's face in his hands. This has to be a close-up. And it's going to be, if this is a mistake, I will never forgive myself. And Elizabeth saying, I will be ready. Okay, 5. This is going to be, maybe it's EBB foreground. And Wilson. I still like this as like kind of a more of a close-up with dialogue. Mr. Browning, the carriage has arrived. Okay, and then, oh, you know what? That'll be Robert foreground. Robert, Bob, this will be the last time I bid you goodbye. He kisses her on the forehead. 6. Robert, dialogue. 7, kiss. Okay, so we got 7 panels here. And we have our really sloppy notes. And I think that kind of works. So now we're going to do a thumb real quick. Kind of work out how this story is going to work. So first, Robert takes Elizabeth's hand and looks her in the eyes. Well, let's think about structure just with like almost like abstractly now, just with boxes. So this is going to have a bit of dialogue. I wanted it to be kind of a close-up, so it's going to have like, we could do 1. No. So this is going to be like her face here, Robert's face here. We're going to have dialogue. We must blah, blah, blah. And then he's going to have his hands there, kind of cradling her face. And let's see here. I will be waiting could be right here. Okay. So there's panel 1. 2. Robert to Wilson. Maid looks from her post at the window. Maybe these need to be even. Okay. Wilson is going to be here. I think we will need that to be more. So that'll be like the foreground where he's saying Wilson. And she's going to look from her post out the window. Great. Okay. So post out the window. Wilson. Maid looks at him. Then what did we have for our third? Robert foreground. Robert to Wilson dialogue. Wilson looks to our. Oh, okay. Yeah. This actually works with like my map here. So we're going to have I know we can rely on you as always. You will make sure everything is in order and with the utmost secrecy. Yes, Mr. Browning. That's going to be happening here. So if that's Wilson, I know we can rely. Okay. I hate to do this. Let's see. Oh. Okay, I think I've got it. Okay. So we're going to do another one. This one's going to be Wilson, the maid with her hat or whatever, and she's going to be sort of in the foreground with her window. He's going to be saying, his hand out like that. She's going to be looking sideways. Her chase lounge there. So here he's going to be saying that. And here she's going to be saying, yes, Mr. Browning. Okay. Now we're going to have tenderly Robert takes Elizabeth's face in his hands. Is that twice that he takes her? Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm going to get rid of the face and hands thing here because that doesn't make a lot of sense. So this is going to be her. They're going to have hands. He's going to have her hands. Okay. And he's going to. Okay. And this will have the I will be ready here. And then here we're going to have, that was the part that I just had. So now we're going to have tenderly, Robert takes Elizabeth's face in his hands. So now this is going to be that sort of thing where it's going to be Robert's hand. Elizabeth's face or whatever, and then we're going to have him. Again, we're just kind of blocking it out. This is him saying something about if it's a mistake. She's saying, I will be ready. It's kind of a reflection of the previous one. Mr. Browning, the carriage has returned. That's what I was thinking for that. So she's going to have sort of quite a pose. And this will be kind of like the shock face, like, oh no. Mr. Browning, the carriage has returned. And then this will be the 2-panel sequence. And that'll be she's going to be laying back, and this is going to be, this is the last time I bid you goodbye. And this will be the mwah. They're both kissing. And at this point, we're kind of doing, oh, he's kissing her forehead. That's much more sweet. Okay. So here we're going to have the same thing, but he's kissing her forehead. Smooch. Okay. Thumbnail. Done. That's all you need in a thumbnail. We'll kind of work out the deets a little bit more as we go on. All right. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to call this thumb. We still have plenty of time. There's still like a good hour and a half to kind of knock this out. So hopefully this works. Thumbnail's done. Got our page 9, which is the previous page referenced. Can kind of pull that up. I'm going to put that next to here just in case I need to reference what happened on the previous page or costumes or something like that. We've got, not sure we need this. May not need this. Wait a minute. We might need that. This will be page 8. And actually, you know what? it'll be good for me to have those both as like a spread almost. Because that's actually what they are. Those will be a spread. So we have 8 and 9. So I'm going to go ahead and merge that down. So we have that as a reference as we're drawing our pages. Just in case I need to see like, hey, what was this scene or something like that. Okay. So now we're going to have our borders. Oh, the thumb should be separate from the notes. So what we'll do is just cut those notes. Call this notes. This is 8 and 9. Okay, we're getting everything set up here. We have our thumb. Now it's going to be helpful because create a nice center line there. Okay, so I just need to consolidate my layers now. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and move this over. I'm going to move this is just our rough panel layout here. Okay, let me get my thumbnail somewhere I can see it. I like the idea of moving this over. And I actually like the idea of this being a little slimmer. These being a little further apart. Then there's one other thing I want to do, which is I want these to be more horizontal panels. So we're going to kind of work that out a little bit. Oh, just a little bit, kind of more like that. Because I want that last page to have a little bit of primacy or whatever for the sequence. Just a little bit, not a ton. And I'm just visualizing kind of like, what's this final going to look like, you know? Yep. I like that. Okay. So there's our rough layout. Got our thumbnail. It's going to be here. And now we're going to play a trailer. I'm going to get a refill of coffee. And when I come back, we're hitting these roughs like mad lunatics from outer space. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. I'm going to play the trailer for Jacob's apartment. And then we're going to get into it. Okay, here it is. Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can we be these things we've seen and walk around breathing I don't know the part to play in this heart of mine. There's dissonant things, they split at the seams. All right, we're back to it. So that also, Jacob's Apartment comes out on June 7th. So that's my upcoming graphic novel from Graphic Mundi. All right, so now we're going to do some thumbnails. And I'm feeling pretty good about the scene. So I want to see the last sequence. What was the last sequence we were looking at? So I might kind of pull that last two frames and have them right here so we kind of know where the camera is. Where did it last leave? So okay, here we go. We're gonna draw real quick. Okay, he's gonna be saying and this I'm gonna label as this will be roughs. Okay, so man, I gotta get my writing in hand. Must leave directly. You will have to be very strong. To be very strong. And this is me working out like what I'm going to bold too, because in comic book lettering, what you bold is just, it's like a rule of thumb in comics, I think, where you can really bring a lot of attention with bolding. certain letters. So okay, so there's our type. Again, these are roughs, so we're just kind of working out our layout, our costumes. If there's research we have to do, basically just laying all the foundation and groundwork for what could be. I'll do the tail later. I always end up adjusting the tail when I try to do it too early. Okay. And then she's saying, I will be waiting. I like that being here. I will be waiting. Okay. And that's going to be here. Off panel. Okay. So now we're going to have Robert. And I wonder if I should pull up my Robert costume. Robert. Okay, there's my Robert and Robert costume. Without the cane. He's not going to have a cane now, okay? Okay. So now we're going to get into the rough. And we're just going to rock this real quick. Okay. So he is here. He's going to be kind of speaking with like urgency. But like, care. And I just realized I should be doing this on a separate layer just so I can draw however big I want. Okay. I tend to draw things whatever size. He's going to be saying you. There we go. Okay. And then let's see here. We have there's a bit of a comb over there. Happens. Okay. And then he's going to have oh, what am I doing? That was not where that goes. I have like his hair kind of recedes back a little bit. And that's where ear will be. And we're going to just have the beard. There we go. Okay. This is our Robert. Now I might have made him too small, but we'll figure that out. I like the idea of his shoulder. He's arched forward a little bit in this. So his shoulder is going to be kind of arched a little bit. Those go up a lot. I like him having a little more movement, a little bit more out of frame. He's going to have her hand in his. She's going to have that crazy wizard sleeve. Okay. Victorian women apparently had kind of like wizard sleeves, which I think is really rad. I thought that was cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Tail should go to the mouth. Or at least point to the mouth and indicate the mouth. Okay. Now we're going to have. Okay. Back to this. Now let's have Elizabeth. I'm going to turn off Robert. And now we're going to have Elizabeth. Where is she? Where is she? I have like one thing. Sorry for hitting the mic. I hope that doesn't make a big boom when I do it. Okay. So now we're going to have Elizabeth here. And let's go back to our roughs. This can be Elizabeth kind of. She's saying, I will be waiting. I want her to have like a. I was going to have her have like a desperate look, but I think she should look more just excited. She's going to escape. What am I doing here? And suddenly I'm drawing really terrible. Okay, just draw confident, dude. Okay. There we go. Okay. She's going to be right here. She's got her sort of frilly nightgown going. I don't like the silliness there. Okay, real quick, let's turn off the EBB. I'm going to turn off the thumbnail. Merge visible. Okay. Okay. That's giving me a lighting situation here. So that way I can kind of know, oh yeah, we're in the room, right? There's a fireplace behind him. So there's lighting. It's actually kind of coming from behind him. And he's got a dark shirt on. This is almost black here. I like the idea of this being his other arm. Hand. Obviously on the final, I'll be clarifying that hand a little bit better. She's wearing a nightgown. And then the background here should be more just bland. Like, here's one of those scenarios where adding like a ton of background info isn't going to benefit anyone. So there we go. Done and done. Merge down. I'm liking that so far. We're following our thumbs. Following our thumbs. Following our thumbs. Okay, so now it's going to be looking at Wilson. And in that case, I don't think I need this. I think I need the previous panels. Yes. And we probably need this sequence here where we're seeing Wilson. So I'm going to copy that. And we're going to use that just over here, just for reference. And now we're going to have, what do we need here? Okay, on our roughs, we're going to do, oh, I want to have that made too. Where is the Wilson? Wilson should be in here. Let's see, Wilson. Do I have Wilson on here? Elizabeth's maid, that's it. Yay, okay. Oh, that's our reference for Elizabeth's maid. which you guys should be pretty familiar with by now. All right, and then I'm going to move the thumbnail just a little bit closer. And we're going to get into it. Okay. Hopefully everybody's doing okay out there. And okay. So now I have Robert, but he's going to be looking over. So maybe, okay. Okay. And then we're going to have this kind of going back a little bit. But I want it like more clear that his face, I'm almost passing out here. I think it's time to go to bed. All right, Philip, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you showing up on the streams, man. It's a lot of fun. And hopefully, was entertaining for you. All right, so, but yeah, have a good night, and wish you the best of luck on your kids' book and making progress on that. That's always cool. Don't want it to seem like he has, okay. So here he's looking to Wilson, but we're going to have him he's turning his head. So this is going to be him saying, Wilson. Was it going to have him saying, oh my gosh, was I going to consolidate that? Let me look at my notes again. Let's see. Oh, okay, good. Okay. So this was literally just going to be Wilson. Would it make sense up there or just be here? And here she's going to be, it's going to be like kind of low level. Her room's going to be sort of set up like that. Okay. Wilson's going to be here. She is going to look at him like, very suddenly. She's turning. Her maid thing is up there. Okay. And then she's got, yes, okay. And it's like the horror movie pose of like her arm back like this. Her maid outfit. This is going to be holding the blanket, or not the, man, when you get in that art zone, you say weird things. Like I just called the curtains a blanket. Can you believe that? So this is going to be a bit of a pivot, but I do want like a real pivot on that, like that hip too. Okay. And her skirt is like way longer than that. So this could be somewhat like that, actually. Have a little bit more posture there. And then this leg out like that. So, yep. And now we're going to have our curtain. Wait, curtain's not going to be going that way. It'll be going the other way. Curtains. Perfect. Okay, curtains. Curtains. And these are like crazy high, like old Victorian curtains too. Okay. And then we're going to have our window. Window. Okay, and then I think right here would be the picture frame. And I'm pretty sure it's like a lady sitting or something on a carousel, or I can't even figure out what that image is. It will help to have a better picture. And just for composition's sake, I'm just going to have the bookshelves like start here. And then we'll have our molding, our kind of cool Victorian molding. Actually, that won't be a bookshelf, so that actually works compositionally. This should be at like mid-level. This would be her writer's desk. So we're going to have a little bit of a tangenty thing going on here, but that's okay. It's like a pretty healthy one. And that's not going to... Then we have our spotted floor. Cool. Panel 2, roughed out. Well, not quite, because we still have to match some of the lighting. So let's get that going. Oh no, I did that on the wrong layer. That's easy correction there. Let's see here. Now I can have this deleted. Okay, let's turn that off. Turn our thumb off. Whoa, didn't I? It's awfully strange. Okay. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. I think we solved that problem of me drawing it on the wrong layer. Like a moron. Okay. So thumbnail, and then I'm going to merge down. Actually, you know what? Let's just go crazy. Let's merge these visibles. And save. And we're going to go ahead and just realize too, he's going to have his, they really had high collars back then. So, okay. So now we're going to do a little bit of shading. Here's Robert's hair. Robert's got dark beard. This will have like a different light source a little bit because now we're going to get just a tiny smidge of light from the window, right? Got a very dark jacket on. And then she is going to be framed by this. And a little bit of shadow. These are definitely going to have some shadow here. So we'll have a little bit of the cast shadow from the other light source. Brianna K. Wielder just hopped in the chats and said, hey, how's everyone going? It's going pretty good. We're drawing some Elizabeth Barrett Browning, her maid, Wilson, and making progress. Kicking butt, taking names. All right, so we've got that. And merge that down. And 2 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go. How are you doing, Brianna? Okay, so the maid looks at him. So now let's pull up our thumbnail. And this is going to have an interesting sequence on our thumbnail here. So we've got our thumbnail now on our third scene. I want to pull up my previous pages. Let's see. I'm going to use this because this is a little closer to the scene. Okay, and this is going to be the maid in the foreground. I want to have the maid first. So let's have Elizabeth's maid. The reference we found a long time ago. And let's kind of start comping this out. So doing good, sitting down for work, had a migraine yesterday, so I had to catch up on stuff. That's what Brianna said. Well, I'm glad you no longer have a migraine. That's a good thing. Migraines are brutal. They kind of suck. Okay. So this is going to have okay. We're here. Okay. I got to write this down here. So it's going to say I know. Oh, come on. Get in there. I know we can rely. It's too far. Rely on you as always. It's always good to rough this stuff out too, because once you get to type placement, it's a lot easier if you kind of work this out in the roughs. Okay. You will make sure everything is in order with the utmost secrecy. You everything is in order and with the utmost secrecy. Okay. I know we can rely on you and always. Okay, and that's going to be about here, which kind of fits our page layout. So let's see here. I have this speech bubbles, speech bubbly. I kind of like the idea of this one being more of a. Okay, again, we're just doing roughs here. Okay, and then this is going to say, yes, Mr. Browning. Yes, Mr. Browning. You know what's crazy? This might be the first time we realize that this is Robert. I'm not sure if he's been introduced in the plot yet. So like I know it's Mr. Browning, but that might be the moment where it's like, hey, wait a minute, that's Mr. Browning. Okay. I know, guys. Profound realizations here. Okay, so that's our type, temporary type. Save that. We're gonna do our drawing of the maid. So I like the idea of, okay, so her hat, we've drawn that before, so we kind of know what that looks like. She has some very like cool hair that's kind of coming out like that. So, but now she's going to have like a posture of, even though her hair will be there, we're going to see the posture of kind of like here. Okay. Kind of drawing just a little bit of that. There's going to be her okay. And then up here, why did I give her the shortest arms on the planet? Okay. Oh. This arm is going to be up, holding the curtain. And I just want to have a little more movement on this ruff, where maybe she can be tilted just a little bit. And obviously that type is going to need to be... I like the idea of her framing it a little bit, so we'll rework that type, because I like her kind of framing the page a little bit more. So let's get back to that type layer, kind of move that out. And let's get back to our ruff. Okay, this is going to have, she's holding the curtain. It's from a bit of an angle, so maybe we can bring that in a little bit. Okay, so there's our curtain. So now we're going to have Elizabeth, I think, could be here. Arms crossed. So Elizabeth's there, and this is her chase lounge or whatever. She's been kind of reclining on. This is going to be the dog. Watt. Or did I call him Watt? What? Watt is their kid's name. The dog's name is Flush. My goodness. Virginia Woolf wrote a play about the dog. I should know about that dog. Okay. Especially if I'm doing a Browning's book. Come on, Josh. All right. So then Mr. Browning is going to be here. Okay. And I need to pull up the Browning thing. And I might have tilted her perspective a little too much. So let's bring that back into reality just a little bit. Could have that kind of here. Okay, I like that. Let's get our type a little more situated. Okay, again, those are just placeholders. Let's get our Robert picture pulled up, and we can turn off the maid. No need to see that anymore. Where's our Robert picture again? Robert picture's here. Brianna said, someone has to have the shortest arms. That's true. Our maid had super short arms, but that's okay. We adjusted that. It's half the fun of art, guys. Okay. So here we go. Now we're going to do our thumbnail again. Let's get Robert. So Robert's actually going to be here. And I want him to have his hands out. So he's actually going to be sort of standing like this. He's got his cool outfit on. Crazy cool outfit. Okay. And here he's going to be saying, his hand is just coming from Elizabeth. Okay. And again, we're just kind of roughing it out. They have that crazy pant line. That's kind of weird. Actually, I like the idea of him kind of stepping. Oh. Oh, perfect. Okay. That's good. Okay. Chase Lounge. This is going to be the food, the dinner plate that we saw earlier. This is going to be the table. The painting. Okay, we need to move our type. Turn that off. Okay. I want this type to be here. Perfect. And this will be I don't like it being like right next to the mouth. That's a little awkward. It's a little weird. Oh, I can turn off my Mr. Browning now. Okay. So let's see here. Kind of like it if it's here. Or here would be better. So we need to move that tail for Mr. Browning. Got it. And it's great to work these things out in roughs because you don't want to find this stuff out after you're like finalizing stuff. Way better to find it out now. Still needs to be pointing somewhat to his mouth. There we go. You know what? We're gonna do this. Whoop. Okay. That works so much better. Okay. Just thinking about page flow here. Okay, great. Okay, now let's get our fireplaces here. It's going to have the fireplace. There was a globe here. There's definitely a big old bookshelf here. Molding. Had a clock there. And then we had a painting here that had a lady on it. And that is going to do it. So there we go. We're going to do, I like that. I'm happy with that. I'm going to turn off the other stuff. So we don't need that anymore. Don't need to see our thumbnail. Let's merge visible. Oh my gosh, are we going to finish this in time? I'm hoping we don't run out of time. Okay. And now we're going to just add some real quick lighting situation here. Just keep it real loose. These are, after all, roughs. That's just going to have to do it. And then we've got our circular patterns that'll be on the floor. Whew! We're getting there, guys. We are getting there. And the nice thing is, I think we might have time. A few more to go, and I think pretty much every single one of them is a close-up panel, which is pretty cool. So let's see what we can do. Okay. We are well over the 3-hour mark. So now I'm going to basically play a trailer for my comic book 2 stories. And then we will reconvene. Wait, we played 2 stories last time. We're going to play Jacob's Apartment again. So here's the trailer for my graphic novel that's coming out in June from Graphic Mundi that you can pre-order today from pretty much any bookstore. And I ask you guys to do that in support of what I do, because I do indie comics, and every little bit of support counts. All right, so here is the trailer for it. It's going to say May, but keep in mind it actually releases on June 7th. And also, if you're in Toronto at the end of June, or you're in the like Quartz Hill, Palmdale, Lancaster area in July, or even in Southern California, I'll be signing at Barnes & Noble in Palmdale in July, and then in June, I'll be doing TCAF at the Graphic Mundi booth. And with that being said, signing this book. But anyhow, enough of that. I will show you guys the trailer, and then we'll get back to roughing out this page. Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can we and things, they split at the seams. Thank you, Brianna. Brianna in the chat said it looks so cool. Thanks. We're getting there. All right, so now we have a panel that is going to be... Okay, that says, yes, Mr. Browning. Boom, perfect. Okay. Tenderly, Robert takes Elizabeth's face in his hand. This is like a romance. I love it. Okay. If this is a mistake, I will never forgive myself, is what Robert's going to say. And then Elizabeth says, I will be ready. It's actually... This is why I want to do this book. It's a really good script. I know it's romance, but it's like... at least this portion of it. Although I will tell you, this doesn't go the same route as a lot of the Browning stories out there. It gets into some mysterious spiritualism, but it also does document like the Browning's awesome romance. So, okay. Now I need to pull up my Browning again, just to, like, again, I like to have, I might be overdoing it, but I like to have like a little bit of reference of like the historical figure I'm trying to represent, just so that I get in that zone. Okay, here we go. And we're going to have, he is taking her hand and, her head in his hands. So here we go. He's putting his hand on her cheek. Okay. Very bold this is like Victorian, very bold move there, Mr. Browning. Okay. Oh, we need the type. If this is a mistake, I will never forgive myself. So he's going to be saying, let's make sure. Okay, cool. If this is a mistake, Jake just said, howdy do. How's it going, buddy? If this is a mistake, I will... I think it's better stacked. Actually, that works. Will never forgive myself. We're getting into the romantic section of this comic. They're about to elope. But what I like about this comic is that's usually the way this actually starts is usually the whole Browning story. So within the first like 10 pages or 11 pages, they kind of get the well-trodden ground of the historical record out of the way. Oh, Jake's talking about his rooster. That's pretty cool. Wait a minute. A rooster? You said chickens. Now you have a rooster? That's pretty cool. That makes me want to sing a rooster. This is a song. Well, Jake went and bought a rooster. Oh yeah. Okay, that's what you get. If you want further renditions of the rooster Jake narration, I need super chats to make that happen. You know, it's funny. If this were during the daytime, I could actually get a guitar and play rooster for you. and dedicate it to you, Jake. Okay, so let's see here. And then it's I will be ready. I like the juxtaposition here where it will say I will be ready. Jake was saying I'd appreciate that. But yeah, if maybe on a daytime stream, we'll do a little. Maybe we could have you on too, and we could start it off and just be like, ooh. Anyhow, we'll have to change the lyrics of Rooster to be your anthem, Jake. But I think that's cool, actually. Jake was on stream yesterday to kind of talk about that. Oh, you know what? I don't need a ton of reference here. I just need to know. Okay, so this hand is going to be here. He's taking her hand tenderly in his, I mean, not her hand, her cheek tenderly in his hand. And then, Sue. There we go. Does not have to be all that complicated, except that I should be doing this on a separate layer than the type. And I want her looking up at him a little bit. Kind of works. And she's going to have her frilly sort of nightgown thing going here. You know what? I was liking the like mirroring, but I'm thinking that the type is this is going to have to go somewhere else. Okay. So we'll put that there for now. Okay. Let's get back to roughing this out. Still got time, guys. Still got plenty of time. Man, very rusty here. I think I overdid that nose a little bit. Man, I was all in a roll, and then suddenly it's like before where I'm drawing like giant hands and stuff. All right. So there we go. Maybe the I will be ready was better there. Hang on. Let's see if we can get that I will be ready to work. Maybe we will just juxtapose it from the previous. Brianna said, it's motivating when a person in stream is thinking just as intensely as you. That's awesome. Glad it can be motivating. Yeah, that's kind of the hope of the stream, right? I really want to foster like a community where we all feel pretty inspired and motivated by each other, you know? So I think that's pretty cool. Break a cardinal rule there, but at least that'll get to her saying, I will be ready. Okay. And this is going to be. Okay. We've got. Robert's wearing a black shirt here. Dark hair. Light source is kind of behind him a little bit. Drama. Drama, you guys. Drama. Heavy drama here. Okay. So there we go. Now we're going to move our thumbnail over here. Oh my goodness. it would be absolutely excellent if we can have this thumbnail done today. Who knows? Who knows, you guys? Oh. Oh, nice. Jake was talking about doing double uploads of Bone Meal on Webtoons so that it would be like all the strips faster to kind of end it in Halloween. That's not bad. Yeah, I mean, if you have like a backlog built up and stuff. So we got our thumbnail. Now I need the maid again. Where's our maid? On the Chase Lounge, on the Chase Lounge. All day long, on the Chase Long. Okay. Let's see here. Nope, I need the maid. There we go. All right. I think we have that all set. Now we're going to get back into thumbnails and just not overthink it. Mr. Browning, the carriage has returned. Okay, this is like action shot, I think, of the maid. Okay. So let's just do this. Okay. And again, we're basing it on that thumbnail. Okay. Oh. This is going to be for a shortened arm. That'll go up to here with the maid. I'm going to be saying, Mr. Browning. I totally forgot to put in the dialogue. Mr. Browning. The carriage has returned. Okay. This is going to have to be stacked. Man. Okay. I don't want to run out of time. That's the catch. I really want to get this done. Okay, Mr. Browning. The carriage has returned. The carriage has returned. Okay. It's going to be stacked. The carriage has returned. Boom. She's going to be a little bit lower in frame, but I kind of like that. Mr. Browning, the carriage has returned. Okay. There we go. And this is going to be made. And like this part's, there's the frilly part. Okay. And her arm is going to be back, holding the there we go. We got our curtain here. Window frame, curtain. Okay, cool. This is not the most worked out of the roughs, but it is important in it. I got the action that I need, which is good. So all we need to know is that the staging, the lighting, a little bit of the movement of the pose, some of the drama of the scene. This is going to be the Mr. Browning in shock. Oh my goodness. How could it be? Cool. Boom. Done and done. Okay, so we got our thumbnail. Turn the made off. Now we can merge these visibles. Merge visibles. Okay, there we go. Let's save it. And what do we have next? Bah, this will be the last time I bid you goodbye. Okay, this is perfect. And this might actually get done in time, guys. I have 15 minutes. Okay. Let's do this. This will be the last time I bid you goodbye. And now we're going to have so we're just going to knock this out real quick. Need those chops. Oh my gosh, her head is significantly larger than his. That's not good. Like I have these moments where I'm totally in the game, in the zone, and then these moments where I like totally space out. Not quite there. Okay, so there we go. Let's see here. Pillows. One more skull there. Be good for him to have a skull. I think being that he was a poet, he probably had a bit of a cranium going on. All right. That's going to do it. We're almost there. Almost there, you guys. And actually, I want to have this magically have a lighter background. I like that idea. It's like a brighter sequence. And then the next one will have just flat color as the background, as a highlight. There we go. We got that kind of blocked out. That's the kissing sequence. And I think that'll be cute if it's almost like it's completely light behind it. You guys, we did it. We managed to rough it out. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Did we actually get the roughs done? And it's not even 2, which is which is my cutoff for when I need to finish stuff. I don't know if I would have done this without you guys. Thanks to everybody who showed up in the stream. I'm just so excited about getting this done, and I really just so much appreciate the company while I'm working on these things. It's fun. So we finished revising a final page. We finished revising a rough, and we finished roughing out an entire page. I feel pretty accomplished about that. So thank you guys for keeping me company. Jake, I hope you enjoy your rooster. I owe you a cover of Alice in Chains Rooster, but with changed lyrics to apply to your rooster. And then I think that's about it. Let's see. Other than that, just like thanks to everybody who watched and hung out in the chats and has kind of enjoyed these things. Make sure you guys pick up a copy of 2 Stories, and also make sure you've pre-ordered Jacob's Apartment. That'll really help out. Also, if you want to know when we're about to go live, make sure you've hit that bell and the subscribe button. And actually, just as a little homework for you guys, either leave a comment in the comment section, because that helps kind of cheat the algorithm, so that like this will show up in feeds. Just say something about the show in the comment section, or just tell a friend about the show, and the fact, like, just be like, hey, this is a fun place to hang out and do art. That'll do it though. And also, just as a little tip too, there's a ton of super talented artists who actually come and hang out in the chats. So if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, scroll through the chats and like look some of these people up, like really talented artists. And I'm honored to kind of have you guys hang out with me and do comics with me. So let me see if I can get a little closer. There we go. So that's what we finished. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next live stream. Bye.